Yes, but you are also working through the idea of control. This is where the idea of money and funds comes from. The idea of control, the exchange of energy from people, and being entrusting the authority that they have placed themselves in. The trust.
So that connects back to the dragon negative energy of greed, I guess.
Yes.
It needs to be balanced on the other side then.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Because many of the Orion systems had a reptilian type beings, they embodied the idea of the dragon.
I see. Are there any reptilians on the planet now?
Earth?
Yes, Earth.
Yes, some.
Are they in a reptilian form or in a humanoid form?
They are humanoid in shape, but they are reptilian in nature.
Do they know they're reptilian?
Yes. They are camouflaged.
I see.
The humanoid just describes a person that has 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 feet, and is able to stand upright.
That's true.
That is why in your science fiction you see beings that take on the idea of the humanoid form so readily, because it is something that builds civilization very easily.
Are these reptilians in serving in high up positions in governments or commerce?
Not in the way that you understand it. They are not part of a negative alliance. They are here to help. They are not beings that are actually here to destroy you. They are part of the interstellar alliance that we are part of.
And what is that interstellar alliance, please?
We are, which has been referred to as the Federation of Light. We are a union of planets, of systems, of species. We are surrounding your planet at this time in order to help you raise up your vibration and frequency so you can become more part of interstellar society.
Thank you. And thank you for helping us. Who or what are the members of the Federation of Light you are speaking of?
There are many that you do not have names for. The ones that you speak of as Palladians, they are a member. The Yao. There are other federations, other connections, other alliances, like Grick Fricnir. There's the Gray Alliance, which that has 18 different species in it that you would stereotypically refer to as gray, but there are different species in that even. There are Sirius in our, what you would beings from the Sirius star system in our alliance.
Why is there so much interest in planet Earth?
Because you are going through the process of ascension. You are the center of the universe right now because you are the best show out there.
Thank you. It does feel like we go through a lot, and the rate of acceleration itself of learning and absorbing new information and discovering is accelerating by itself. That's what it feels to me.
Yes. You have said as beings, as a civilization, that you would like to accelerate. You would like to move past the idea, the negativity that has pervaded your species and your world for thousands of years. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Well, you're getting what you asked for. You are also moving up to the idea of fourth density. The energy, when you move into that environment, moves much faster. So you must let go of the things that move along with the idea of being in third density.
What would be a couple of important things to let go of third and embrace for the fourth?
Well, it's not you're not holding on to the idea of the negativity that came from the Orions, the idea of greed, the idea that you are separate, that you see yourself separate from everyone on your world, that there's not enough, the idea of negative karma. Understand that the karma is there to teach you a lesson. It just depends on how you look at it. It is not there to be a destroyer. As you move up into fourth density, you can no longer hold on to the idea of war, which is what you're starting to see on your planet.
That is very good. Thank you very much for this. Another time we spoke, Ethan, I asked you what would it take, what would be the critical mass kind of for the domino effect, and you said around 10%.
Yes.
Where are we on that scale of 10% right now?
You are moving closer to that rate. You are still in the process of reaching that level.
Yes, well, with all the wars, it's quite evident.
You have not reached that level yet.
No. And you still thinking that 2027 will have some sort of a more open contact?
Yes.
Do we need to get to the point of 10% to have the open contact?
No, you need to move to the point of 10% in order to reach the point where you can start have a cascading effect.
Okay, so once we get to the 10%, there'll be enough to roll the dominoes, and more people will start to align themselves.
Yes. You are going to see, because you are moving up to higher densities, those people that match the frequency, that wish to move up in vibration and frequencies to higher forms of experiences of being physical, they will align themselves with the reality where they go that direction.
And what about the people that are not aligning or not ascending?
They will shift into the realities that match their frequency.
So you may see migration of communities coming together for those who are ascending, and communities of those who are sticking around.
Yes.
Do you think either of these groups will experience longer or shorter lifespan?
Well, statistically speaking, the people that experience the idea of a negative reality, the people that are in that reality will experience a shorter lifespan. Fair. Where when you move more into a positive state of being, it is only natural to expand and live longer.
Fair enough. Thank you for this. Laura, would you like to ask some questions? Laura, would you like to ask your questions?
Yes. One of the things was already covered earlier. I was curious about the Elohim and how their influence and how the stories told about them, or the information out there about them, as them being this God race of multiple entities or of deities. And I've always seen them as a collective of the higher nation, the extraterrestrials that came to Earth at that time to help creation.
They never left. They never left.
Good. Thank you.
The idea that Yahweh, Elohim, any other name that you might give different beings throughout your history, many of those people that existed in those time periods did not have names or an understanding on how to explain what beings from other worlds were. They referred to them as angels. They referred to them as demons, because that is how they perceive them, because they did not have the understanding or the definitions to understand that there are beings that might look different, that exist in different ways.
Wonderful. Thank you. Lumeria,
Yeah.
the civilization did it go to Did it go to a same kind of a culmination as Atlantis? What
Mu,
is
Mu, which was the
uh-huh,
actual name for it, was
right?
the first major civilization that occurred past the initial hybridization on your planet. It was the first human civilization over the idea of thousands of years they lived, and eventually their continent was sinking and they could see it, so they expanded out to different places around your world.
Thank you.
The idea of different peoples in the South Pacific, they originated from Lemuria. The people of the Samoans, the people of the South Pacific, the people of Australia, the people of India, even the idea of Native Americans, South America, North America. They had, at that time, a way of teleporting around your planet. They also had the idea of being able to go and move across the seas. But they also lived in the idea of being in harmony with nature.
Thank you.
And what you refer to as Atlantis originated as a colony of those people.
Okay. Thank you. My next question is very personal. It's an experience that I had back in 2013. I was hit by lightning and I died and came back through. Is there anything that registers about that experience of what I went through, what it may have held as a purpose for my expansion as a light being here on Earth, for the lack of anything better to call it right now?
Sounds like a shocking experience.
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely.
Usually when you're having those particular types of experience, it is there to wake you up. Something that you were neglecting and not allowing yourself to have. Post that event, you allowed yourself to do something that was not okay. You will give yourself those experiences on higher levels to be able to wake yourself up and expand your awareness that you would not have otherwise. What have you as a being done after the idea of your lightning strike?
I've called in a full connection to the Ascended Masters. I've devoted my life to the loving service that I'm on Earth to do. I have aligned with the things that I hid myself from or that I hid from myself. I became a fuller body of who I am, truly who I am and what I'm here on Earth to do.
So you shocked yourself awake. You had a divine intervention moment.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll go. Hi, Ethium, is Joseph back here. Thank you, Laurel. Ethium, the topic of mother and father, what do those represent to us? And is it true we choose our mother and father?
Yes. You choose the family, you choose the way you incarnate, you choose the circumstances of your birth, because that is what will help you expand as a soul, as a being, into the physical experience. The family that you incarnate into, the circumstances that you choose, is that which sets you up to play out the particular theme that you chose for any given lifetime.
Yes.
They represent the masculine and feminine natures of each person.
With what about the name? Does one choose their own name, or is that chosen by the parents?
A little bit of both. You will
So-
know if a name resonates with who you are because you will gravitate to that particular name that fits in with who you are. Many times, the names that actually resonate with who you are will become nicknames.
Right. Thank you. That's good. You spoke of soul groups before.
Yes.
May I assume that my present mother and father and myself, perhaps my sisters, are all part of the same soul group?
Yes. You are literally a soul group. You are a group that incarnated together.
And have we incarnated before elsewhere or another time?
Yes, typically most of the soul groups that travel together will incarnate many, many times together, playing different roles. Sometimes you will be the son, sometimes you will be the mother, sometimes you'll be the father, sometimes you will be the nephew. You play many different roles, many different lifetimes. It doesn't require you to stay in one particular way.
That is fascinating to me. Would you be able to give me an example of what role I played and my parents and or my sisters in another lifetime, for an example?
The person that is playing your mother in this lifetime, you were her mother in another. You showed her love. You also showed her sternness. She is your mother this time to repay you, to give you the same awareness, the same expansion of your being that you gave to her.
Thank you. How may I access my mother's or my father's higher selves?
By realizing that they are those higher selves, they are not independent from them. It is not necessary for you to necessarily always have that connection, just in the way that is not always necessary for everyone to be able to channel in the way that the channel is bringing things through right now. If it's relevant for you to have the experience or be able to connect to a particular person or a particular type of energy or experience, you'll have that experience. You'll be drawn through a series of events that will allow you to have the experience of channeling or have the ability to connect to someone's higher self.
Okay, thank you. I think I brought this up before, but a thought. Where does it? Because it's kind of similar. Where does a thought or an idea originate?
A lot of times humans' thoughts actually originate from your higher mind. It is the one on the mountain. Because it sees things that are happening down the valley, it can give you ideas or something that will expand later on.
Thank you. Yes, I remember that example.
Yes,
Good.
it hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed, and I guess I can tap into it anytime, really.
Yes,
Of course.
it's exciting.
It is exciting. Give me a second here. With my notes.
The idea that humans don't necessarily get, that we see from our perspective, is they make things overly complicated. So the idea we would like to express to all humans is to remain more simple in your experience. You do not require to tap into the idea of having access to everything that has ever happened in the universe. You will have experiences of that which is relevant for you to have, not a moment sooner, not a moment later. That is why we are able to access information, because we know that we know what we need to know when we need to know it, period. We do not need to know everything all the time. Like the idea that I have is I do not have memory. The moment I am done with this conversation, I will no longer remember any of it. But when someone asks me questions, that memory will return to me, because we as a species live in the more present moment. We do not require the idea of maintaining long-term memory. So simplify your experience. This is what we would advise most humans to do.
Thank you. I really like that. And it really ties back with what you said about greed and control and the need to have. If I can release that, I can be more in the flow and not be afraid I'm going to miss on an experience or on some kind of a material possession.
Yes, because you will have what you need to have when you need to have it. You don't need to necessarily have $1 million. You do not necessarily need to move into the idea of destruction or forsaking who you are as a person.
And the people that want $1 million and another, is there something wrong with it?
No, not necessarily. That is an experience that they can have. But you always have what you need to have. It's not what you want to have. It's being in a state of knowing that everything flows and shows up when it needs to.
Thank you very much.
Being more present in your experience of who you are as a person.
More present. Would you like to suggest, Ethan, a simple exercise or routine to help people be more present? Let's say I'm stressed out or have a busy day and I just want to ground myself.
We would, as an exercise, if your mind is racing and you find yourself losing yourself in the moment, cover your left eye. Give yourself a minute and a few breaths and allow yourself to center back into your physical experience. Because when you are not able to see fully, it grounds you and brings you into the more present moment.
Thank you. That's good. That's good. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me about being in the moment, in the flow, and living more simple lives?
It goes back to the formula that the Bashar has delivered many times. Act on your excitement at any given moment to the best of your ability with zero expectation or assistance of the outcome. When you can live in this way, it does not require you to move beyond, but when a opportunity comes your way that you have the ability to act on and do something about, you do not require the idea of having immense resources at all times. If you have a resource, it's there for you to have so you can grow, so you can experience what you need to experience. Say you would like to move into a moment or go have an experience, but you do not necessarily have the money to do it. Well, you don't need to have that experience. Just be in the present moment awareness, live presently through your experience that these things happen in their own timing. So you don't need to worry about them happening. But if the opportunity itself presents itself, be willing to take a chance and use the opportunity that's presented to you.
Thank you very much.
We know that the channel in front of you isn't always great about doing that. So we are partly saying this to him because he is listening to us right now, and he knows, and he will incorporate this particular type of energy into his being to be able to take more accountability and be more willing to actually take a chance when it presents itself.
Thank you. That goes to all of that's good advice for everyone, really. So
but remember, it has to be relevant for you to experience what you would like to experience. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't need to happen.
That's good. That puts my mind at ease too, because I don't feel that I'm missing anything.
You never are.
Okay. So, for example, a lot of the work on this website and communicate your messages and all, I do late at night because that's the only time I have, and it's quiet. I live on a sometimes I think they will say maybe I should just go to bed and wake up early, but sometimes I'm on such a roll. I don't mind staying up late.
That is living in the moment. That is living and acting on your excitement. That is you are seizing the moment and knowing that the work you do is what needs to be done.
Excellent. Thank you for this.
When you feel the resistance welling up in you and telling you it's time to stop working, those are the moments that you need to allow yourself to be present and understand that you are done at that time. We would ask that you listen to what your body has to say and be willing to act on it when it says it is time to rest.
Thank you. I have been doing this, and it feels good. I had a rest today because I was very, very tired and cold, and I wanted to be fully available for this conversation. And I didn't feel guilty about it.
You should never feel guilty about those experiences, and being true to yourself and being able to listen to what your body is telling you.
Thank you. That is a very important message here. Well, since you brought up body, maybe I'll go there. In our present moment, we mentioned in other conversations some toxins. Would you be able to pick some nutritious foods you'd recommend for us to consume?
Pears.
Pears. Okay, what else?
Anything with a high amount of selenium. Any sort of food that allows you to incorporate the idea of selenium in your diet. It will help with the crystallization process that you are all moving through. And it will also help clean out those toxins that have built up in your system.
Thank you very much. What about selenium supplements?
Those will do, but it more comes with the idea of natural food or food that is high in that particular that will absorb into your body more easily than taking a supplement.
Thank you. Ethan, what's your call on eating meat?
I have none.
No, I mean, do you recommend we eat meat or not eat meat?
The idea is that it's the quality of the food that you eat. It is the quality of that which you consume, because that which consumes you, you are consumed by.
Right.
That which you consume consumes you. So understand that you see the First Nation people, the people that lived here for thousands of years before you did, they hunted. They ate meat, they ate deer, they ate bison, they ate fish. Do you see them as any less spiritual?
No.
There you go. Just understand that the quality of the food that you eat will determine what you get out.
Thank you. With the exception of pears, are there any other natural foods, fruit, vegetable, anything that you think that we need to consume to be healthy?
We would actually suggest many people who have switched to a purely vegetable-based diet do need to actually consume some animals, some animal byproducts, because their systems have become off balance. You can see it in their behavior, their hormones. Many people that do eat in this way do not actually have balanced systems with because they're not listening to what their body actually needs. So their hormones and their whole system is out of balance.
Thank you. That makes sense. Is there preference to eating, and let's assume that the meat source is good and clean, is there preference to fish, beef, lamb, or any other type of animal?
We would ask that you more look at the source of the food that you are consuming, not necessarily the idea that it needs to be farm fed, grain fed, any of those, but understand that the quality and the intention that goes into the food will be manifest in your experience with the idea of the vibration and frequency of the food that you consume becomes part of your field.
Thank you. That makes sense. I've been going to the farm and getting meat from a farm where I can see the animals walk, and I think that's the best we can get around here.
Yes, but you understand that the idea is that you know those animals are taken care of through their life, so you consume that particular vibration from their particular life that they had. Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I go and inspect the farm myself.
There you go. You know when you have eaten food that does not fit with you vibrationally, you feel like crap.
Yes.
Listen to what your body is asking for. Listen to what your body is willing to and needing to eat. If you're starving for a particular type of nutrition, that is telling you you are not completely consuming what is necessary for you to thrive.
Thank you. What can you tell me about alcohol? Some people consume it, some people do not. Would you recommend anyone to consume alcohol at all?
It depends on what you need to experience. The idea of distilled spirits, distilled alcohols, they carry a particularly low vibration.
Yes.
That is why you see most of the people that actually consume it move to a place where they are weaker, where they are not in their right mind, because they are absorbing the particular frequency, the spirits that move along with that particular substance.
Right.
But if it is relevant for you to go through the experience, if you experience the idea of shame that goes along with drinking, you will be more attached to it. Right. So understand that these substances have been consumed throughout your history for thousands of years. Most of the people that attach themselves to the idea of alcohol usually come from a place of not necessarily being healthy. So they consume it because it is where they are mentally. And then that amplifies where they are. So they continue consuming it and it falls into a spiral. Everything in moderation is more the key in idea. You do not necessarily need to eat so much all the time. Many of the people in your Western societies eat too much. That is why you see an expansion of their weight. They eat food that is toxic to them.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go.
Thank you. So the idea of Japanese, for example, they eat the raw fish with a bit of sake, I guess, to kill any parasite that could be from the fish. That would be okay because the intention is there.
Yes, this is where the idea of blessing or praying over your food, you are clearing the particular frequency that goes along with the food that may not necessarily be positive or integrative into your diet.
Thank you. If so let's take food stuff like ice cream. Let's say I can find some ice cream. It's still processed, but it's made of real milk and cream. Would you think that once in a while it's okay to consume or not consume that at all?
If you're feeling like you're craving it, we would not say constantly, but if your body is craving a particular substance, there's something there that you need.
Okay, I see. A lot of people in the nutrition realm speak of stay away from gluten. They call it glue to the power of 10. can you give me any advice if to eat any bread, even if it's very clean, or sourdough, if it's okay to eat, or should I avoid it?
It is not so much the idea of gluten. You, as people, have eaten the idea of gluten bread products for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. The idea that you are experiencing in your modern era is more of the idea of chemical buildup on the top, on the grain itself.
Okay.
The idea of Roundup, the idea of fertilizers that are not necessarily healthy for the crops.
Understood.
It is that buildup of that particular substance that would cause all the people you are seeing these days go through the idea of being allergic.
I see. Are there, I don't know if you would know, but would you know of any bread products or brands that are safer to eat?
No, most of, especially in Western societies that have integrated the idea of this particular type of grain into their diet, this particular substance on the grain, on the food, whether it's corn, grain, or any other crop, has this particular chemical.
Are you speaking of the glyphosate chemical?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I fully understand this. And I guess
We would ask that it, as a healthy way of doing things, is detoxifying your body, allowing your liver, your kidneys, your individual internal organs to be detoxified. You will find many times when you go through this detoxification process, most people that are allergic to things, the allergies will actually disappear.
How could I detoxify myself, please?
You have the ability to look up on the internet, correct?
Yes.
We would say start there. Look for a particular system or a particular program that allows you to detoxify your liver and detoxify your entire body.
Okay, thank you.
We would say to empower yourself, to not give you all of the answers. We give you enough that you can go look up for yourself to see what we are speaking of. We do not deny you the chance to go look up and experience things for yourself.
Thank you. That's fair. I understand. And thank you for this.
If we give you all of the answers, you won't go do it yourself.
That's true.
Action is the key to all experience. Action and understanding, moving back to the idea of the dragon energy, the golden dragon energy from earlier. It is knowing and doing are synonymous. Having the wisdom is knowing. The doing is the knowledge put into action.
Right. What I want to talk about longevity a little bit
Yes.
because it connects to detox. What do you estimate would be a lifespan of a person who eats what we call clean, does not eat any dirty or toxic food, and drinks clean water, versus someone who consumes your typical Western diet?
It is a case-by-case basis. You have many different points in your lifetimes where you are giving exits. Remember that humans themselves do not have the longest lifespans these days. So the idea is that if someone leaves, they can live a totally healthy lifestyle, but they just die spontaneous. They hit the exit point. They hit the point that they were determined that this was a moment they should leave.
I see.
Don't judge the moment people leave. If they leave when they're in their 30s, that they leave in their 40s, that was the moment that it was set for them to leave, to have that particular exit point.
We see a lot of young people exiting these days.
Yes.
Well, we call it die suddenly, but I guess you would say that they're finished their mission here.
Yes. They did what they needed to do, and they leave. You saw this during your pandemic. Many people that were perfectly healthy just die. They took themselves out. They reached the exit point in that particular lifetime, so they no longer needed to be here. You do make these decisions from a higher level, usually.
Right. Are the exit points predefined, or they just come and go?
They come and go. There are different designated points that you can take throughout any given lifetime.
A lot of rock stars and famous people seem to die at 27. Is there a specific reason why 27?
It is a cycle of dying. It is a particular cycle that on your planet you have to say this is an exit point. And if they have achieved what they came to learn in that lifetime, they leave. We would go back to the understanding that to not judge someone else's experience.
No, not at all. I'm just curious. Are there any other, I don't want to say predefined, but exit points that seem to repeat more than others, like 27?
Usually you will see more of the idea of an exit on a cycle of 9 or cycle of 3. Not always, but usually.
You mean when the age is divisible by 3 or 9?
Yes.
Okay. So 60, 63, 66, 69, 72, and so on.
Yes.
Very interesting. Why is that?
It is a cycle. When you feel like you have completed enough inside of the cycle that you are currently on, there's usually an exit point at the end of it. They will say to you in spirit, when you move to that level, they will say, if you continue back, if you move back into the physical form, this is what you will experience. And if they decided that on that higher level, they do not need to experience it, they'll just leave.
Okay. Now there is an expectation within some of our population, not all, that there will be many exits now, much more than we usually see. Is this correct?
You have been seeing more and more exits than normal.
Yes.
This is perfectly normal. This is part of the plan. This is part of the age that you're moving into. This is the idea that people are splitting off into different realities. So they are taking themselves out of your reality because they no longer need to experience it. This is the splitting prism.
Mm-hmm.
They may be in another reality where they're still living on and they never did die.
As human on Earth?
Yes, in another reality, another version of Earth.
Right.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. So, because we spoke before and we said that during the next 100 or so years, we're expecting the population of this planet to drop significantly.
Yes.
Let's say in the next decade or so, do you think that, do you project that the population will start to more and more exit?
Yes. You will see larger portions of older populations around your world decrease because they will no longer need to be here.
Okay, there are also areas on the planet which the average age is very young, particularly, I believe, in Africa or places like that. What would happen with these kind of places?
Because they have a younger population, they are being allowed to grow without the understanding or the baggage of the previous generations. But they will expand much quicker than the older populations were because that is the stage of life that they exist in.
Okay, I see what you mean. So everyone's catching up, and if you don't catch up, you gotta vacate to a different place.
Yes,
Okay,
it's perfectly normal.
I see. Laurel is thanking you and saying that she has to leave at the moment.
We are also reaching the end of our times of questions as well.
Thank you very, very much, Ethan. It was a pleasure, and we've learned so much from you today. I appreciate you being here for us.
Good day.
Good day.